So today in this session we are going to discuss about of the one of the important thing which is called as the name as is. What do you mean by the as is and what do you mean by to be? See what exactly by the as is and to be means the as is, that means whatever the client is asking about of the requirements. That means the client requirement is an as is and that has to be comes into SAP output which is called as an to be. That means, say, for example, we are the Infosys team and our client is in some hospital. So for example, you people are in Infosys team and you people are working for the Apollo hospitals. And what I'm saying that as an Apollo person or an Apollo CMD, I am asking that I need the one of the record or one of the screen has to be like this. So for example, one screen which I am required the patient ID and the patient ID can be like this and as well as patient name that should be like this and even the joining date. Joining date. So Natalie is asking about this leaving the joining time. So as a client, this is what my as is. That means my requirement is this one, but what I am saying that in SAP this is not available. Why I am asking this one is which I am asking for this one is a patient entry details. This is the screen has to becomes like this and even at the top down I need three buttons save, edit and delete and also the exit.
As is process.
Okay, this is my requirement. That means whenever the patient has been came inside, the details has to be fulfilled like this. But as in a Apollo hospital, this will be useful for that those persons. But in generally, the SAP system is not having this one. So in this situation, what we have to do? That means the as is has been not matching up with the SAPs. That means to be. Then whatever in between of this gap has been generated, which is called as a GAP. That is the gap analysis. In between of the client requirement and the SAP system is not matching up. Whenever this as is and to be is not matching, automatically here the gap has been generated. And the gap has to be fulfilled by the consultant, that means us, as a senior person. That means as a senior person, we have to fulfill to this gap. So how it has to be fulfilled? So which I said that this is the client requirement. And what is the client is asking about? This has to be requirement for us. So for this, as a functional consultant, first of all, you people has to be prepare one documentation. What about the documentation? Or else, when this gap has been generated, how we need to make the solution of this one, which we are calling as a documentation. We are maintaining all these things into the one documentation. There, in the documentation, the first thing is problem. What was the problem here? The problem of here it is, which we are calling as a problem is a gap. In the documentation, which we have to write this, the problem is in a gap and the solution is in a development and solution is the development and the transaction code or else the tool which we can call it as a which of the tool it has to be fulfilled in the sense of dictionary and the transaction code. Which transaction code we have to use in the sense of here C11 and number of fields. So how many of the fields is required here in the sense of totally these are the fields 1, 2, 3, 4, even another number, something around contact. So how many of the fields is required for this in the sense of, as per this solution, the fields required is 5. And as well as data types. How many of the data is required for this? Here my client is asking that the patient ID. The patient ID can be the alphabets or else the numerics. Okay, which we can make the patient ID either it is in the alpha or numerics. The both can be. So in the situation which we are using here as a cat, and even the patient name, which they want to maintain the patient name in the characters. This is also cat. And the date. The date should be comes as an DDMNYYYY. That is the data type which is called as a dash. And the joining time has to be comes as an and hours, minutes, and seconds. That was which we are calling as a TAMs. And even contact number only with the numbers which is called as a numbers. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. How much of the data type which you are using in the sense of 4. So what are those of the 4 data types? Here as we discussed, cat, numerics, bats, and times. These are the data types. That means which we are calling this is an issue. In the real time we got the issue. That issue was this one. So for clarification of this issue, you people has been prepared this something documentation. Now, as a senior manager or as a senior consultant or as a consultant of the Infosys FI team, this gap has to be, or else this gap should be fulfilled by myself as a senior person. So everything, the solution and everything has been given, and even with the transaction code also. So how it has to be fulfilled? That's what we have to do. So how it has to be fulfilled in the sense of, as which we discussed, gap. What is the transaction code? First of all, let me log in into the SAP logon, and then select our server and give the user ID. And then enter. Use the search the latest version. Digit password. Now, from here I have to fulfill this gap. That means, first of all, I need to create one database table for this query. So the database table can be created by the tool of the dictionary, and for the dictionary tool, the transaction code is the SE11. SE11 is called as an SAP data dictionary. Generally, the dictionary in the sense of the collection of the words and their meanings. As like as here also, what is a dictionary in the sense of, it is the collection of the all the data, whether it is a transaction or a master data of the SAP system, which can be handled by the dictionary. Enter, select the database table. What is the table name you want to put? You can anything you can take that, but in general in the real time, whatever the SAP system is already having, that's that's when we starts with the any type of data. But any user different, that means you have developed or customized anything as per the client's requirement, that has to be or that should be starts with the letter either by Z or Y, by those two letters only. Here I am giving that Y. Y Johnny, or else let's take as an YPAT, and then create it. When I'm going to create it, that means I'm going to create the one data or database which is called as a SAP Data Dictionary. Under the SAP Data Dictionary, what is the description of here, which I am writing here? Patient entry details. And I am in required the YPAT, and it was in a patient entry details. And under this database table of the data, which type of the data you are going to create here? Whether it is the transaction data or the master data, or both types of the data. So generally, master data in the sense of the customers, materials, patients, materials, vendors, and the assets, everything is considered to the master. Customer wise sales invoice, vendor wise purchase orders, and material wise items, which is called as a transaction. Now, you people are going to create the one database, and is this database is the which type of the data it was? At that time, you can say that it is an application table. And once you have created one database, accepted. In the future, if you want to maintain some more fields, that means you want to add some more fields in the database, is it possible or not? Shall I accept that or not? For that, data browser table view maintenance. In future, when you are maintaining the table, it is asking that can I allow the maintenance or not? Maintenance allowed. That means in future, whenever or wherever I want, I can change that and I can use that. That's why I have given here as a name display maintenance allowed. And this is the table name and this is the details. It is in a master table of the transaction table and the display maintenance service allowed and fields. When I am going to the fields, it asks me that what are the fields which you want. So as a client which they have already given the fields, what I required is PID, PName, joining date, joining time and contact. So here PID and the page contact, and the same data can be utilized by the other database tables also, or that means other fields also, or else other users also. In that situation, here say for example, the first patient has been walking, and now the patient has been came, the data has been entered here, and after that he went to the pharmacy for the medical. They have entered their bill with the same patient bill. As like as when the patient went to the lab, they have entered the patient-wise scanning amount, ECG amount, X-ray amounts, and all that. That means one data field can be imported to the multiple of the databases. In this situation, whatever the field which you are using, is this field can be made as in a relational field
నో
in between
సిగ్నల్
of that.
వచ్చిందండి.
Yes?
నో సిగ్నల్ వచ్చింది.
Hello?
మానిటర్ పోయింది.
Monitor by you.
వెయిట్ వెయిట్ సార్. ఓకే.
Is it okay?
యూ కెన్ కంటిన్యూ సార్.
Right. So whenever if the two screens is there or two data is there, in between of these two data, whenever I want to make a relation, and that relation can be happens by through this field, which that field is called as a key field. It is called as a primary key field. And even whatever the primary key has been mentioned here, as per the key, you should be going to the maintaining the primary key relation. Even whatever the field which you have maintained as a primary key, that key should be as an initialize. See, initialize values. Initialize values in the sense of it should be takes the total values whatever we have to enter, that should be the mandatory. That means ఈ ఫీల్డ్లో డేటా ఎంటర్ అవ్వకుండా ఆ స్క్రీన్లో సేవ్ అవ్వకూడదు అని చెప్పి దాన్ని మ్యాండేటరీగా మెయింటైన్ చేయడం కోసం మనం వాడుతుందే ఈ ఇనిషియల్ వాల్యూస్. And after completion of this initial values, let us know what is the data type. So here, for the patient ID, the data type which they have given is in a cat. It means here also open the radio button. It was in a cat. How much of the length they want for the character? That means the patient ID. Say for example, of the general ledger number is the maximum of the 10 digits. A customer number, the maximum of the 9 digits. As like as whatever the patient ID which we are going to create, how much of the length it can be, or it should be the max. How much of the length it should be the max. So here, which I am giving here as an S6. That means I can create the patient ID with a maximum of 6 characters. And even we can write the description here. Patient identification code. Patient identification code. So under the table which I have created one data field which is called as an field. As like as the name, and this was also which I am asking character, and which should be the maximum of 36. And here I am using the patient. And next, join date, and the date format which we discussed, DD, MM, YY. For that, it was an DAPS. And even if I am not giving the length, directly I am writing here. Running good, enter. See, automatically it has been taken the length of the date. How it has been taken the length of the date is inside. By default, the system is doing that date is in a DD, MM, YY. As per that, the system has been automatically taken. As like as join time. For the time format, it was an hours, minutes, and seconds. For that, it was an TIMS. And what it was, which I am saying, join time. Join time. So whatever the client has been asked, first of all, we have created this one. And after that, go for the technical settings. It asks me, in before of going to the technical settings, shall I save it or not? Yes, I need to make a save also. Means here, but after saving of this one, it asks me about of the data class. That means in this table which we said that either we can enter the master data or the transaction data, the identity data. Here it is asking that what exactly the data has to be creatable here, whether it is the transaction data or the master data, which I am giving here as a master data, and how many of the records can able to maintain in this table. Maximum of how many of the records, how many length, not the length, how many of the records, the count of the records you want to maintain here. So I am giving here up to 5400 records I can save it, come back, activate it, yes, see the objects was activated and saved. That means as per the client's requirement in between of the gap, we have done that database. Okay, fine. We have shown me. That means the client has been accepted. These are the fields which I am required. I am happy for it. Now, what is the second problem is you have given the database, but how can I enter the data into the database? I am the user from the something, and how can I make? I want to enter the data into this database table. How can I? Is it possible or not? So for that, what we are doing that we are doing another tool which is called as an SC38. So the SC38, which we are calling as an editor, this is a total SAP editor. That means from this editor we can edit anything of the SAP we can edit here by using the tool of SC38. What was the program you want to write? I am not a programmer, I don't want to write the program also. But I am writing here by PAT create and the title which I am giving here patient entry details, and if the type of the program is executable, enter. Now I need one empty screen for making of a GUI screen. For here I am writing the program, not the program, only one line of the condition which I am writing here as call. Call means get it. What I want to get? Screen. I want the screen, and the screen name should be, can be anything. Let's take it as a 789. So this is the screen which I want. That means I am calling one empty screen. That screen name should be the 789. The screen name is the 789. That's what I require. And then double click on the screen number. Then it's saying that you are going to create one screen number of the 789. Till now it's not having anything. Shall I continue? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Then the description and the layout. In the layout, I want to design the GUI for that particular database, whatever I have created. For that particular database, whatever I have created. Yeah, let me see. So, whenever we have designed the screen, that means I want to design the screen. So, whatever we have created that screen in the patient entry, and then go for the layout. Whenever we are entering on the layout, here, this is the screen. Oh, this from this empty screen, what we have to do that we need to create the objects. That means if we can observe here, some of the things will be there: environment, system, health, and all the other things. First of all, what I have to do that, this is the option: dictionary program fields window. Just click on this. It's asking me from which table you want to get the data here. So I have already created the database table in the previous. While PAT. Get from dictionary. So there, these are the fields will be there. Enter. And place. See, the fields has been filled here. Whereas when you want to place here, even if you want to make the graphical element, but here, graphical element, this is the graphical. As like that, whatever you want, you can make it here. Or else, in before of the creating of this one, let's see. Layout. I don't want to maintain this one. That is no. Double click. Yes. Something. Layout. After the layout. So automatically the empty screen was coming here. Under that layout, we have to design whatever the client has been asking. Where the client has been asking so and so, so and so, so and so. These of the fields has to be published. These of the buttons has to be published. As per that, how it is. So here, select the graphical element. And first, dictionary. Select from dictionary. These fields. Transfer. Place the cursor and click on it. And then graphics. This is the graphical element. I want the buttons for this. This one. And then drop. Even like this is the adapter one. The adapter is viewing all the screens in the graphical element. They're adding the values and everything here. And after that, activate it and then save it. Come back, activate it and then save it. Come back, activate it and save it. Come back. Now the screen also has been designed. So how to get the screen? So now I am an end user. How can I call the screen using? So for that, by using the SC93, we can create our own transaction code also, like YPAT or else YPatient create what it was. Patient details. Here the program name is the program in before of that whatever we have right. Let's see that way. The program name which we are giving is YPAT and even the screen number which we use 789. Save it. The object. Done. Now close this. Close this. Log out. Now I am the user. As a user, how can I access the screen? So now I am the user. Here as a user, I am logging into my SAP system. Now I am the user. As a user, I want the screen. That's it. Why patient? That is the transaction code which has been created. Enter. See like this. But this designing and all the other things should not be our work. That has been maintained by the Arabs. Means which they are writing the program for the fields and everything. But whenever we want to fill the gap as per the client's requirement, first of all, what we have to collect is what are the fields they require and what is the data type which they require and as well as what is the data size of length they require and including with the data size and everything, including the data size and everything, how to create the database table and how to call or put into the screen, and for that writing of the program and the designing of the part will be the abacus. That means as a functional consultant, when you are when you are interacting with the client, you people has to be collect all these things, and after making of this one, the ABAPer will be going to write the program for us. So this is the first thing which we are calling as an DB tables, or else which we are calling as an database tables. So I think so. As this session will be understanding by yours, and even as like as let me show that SC11, the table name of KNA1 and display what it is. See, it is in a customer number country name from the, that means it is in a customer master. As the curve 393 like XD01 display is the program name, and for that they have designed the screen. That's why whenever we are directly following the HT01, the screen will become as per the requirements of mine. That means as per the requirements of the clients, which we are given, that data has to be fulfilled and the gap has been fulfilled by the so and so. Your journey is it clear for yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay.